It's very uplifting to them, and that's the magic of his music.
Now, during that interview, Yanni mentioned that he would be coming to Toronto for a concert, and I casually mentioned how much I'd love to have he and Linda join me on the show. Well, Lady Luck is on my side, because I'd like you to join me in a very special welcome for the very talented Yanni and his #1 fan, Linda Evans. You're both loved, both adored, and seeing as you're taken, Yanni, the first question I have to ask on behalf of the women in the audience is, do you have any brothers? And are they nearby?
Yes, I do. I have an older brother, yeah.
Ah, how many in your family?
There's a younger sister and an older brother.
When did you two met? Is it 3 years ago? Is that the right time frame? It's been 3 years now?
About.
Yeah.
And you, if my memory is correct, you met because you phoned him, Linda, because you were so in love with his music?
That's it.
But I remember you saying during the interview that if you'd realized he was such a handsome man, you wouldn't have phoned.
That's true, because I would have then been attracted to him, and then I would have been confused about my motives. The truth is, I called him because this was the music I'd waited all my life to hear. It was so different. There's no music like his music. And I didn't want him to stop writing it. I wanted more of it, and I thought, what if he gets successful and then goes off in another direction and he stops writing this music that I love so much?
You must have been quite surprised when you picked up the phone and Linda Evans. Did you believe it was really Linda Evans phoning you?
The voice is unmistakable. But it's not as dramatic as it may sound in the press. Actually, I was expecting a phone call. The assistant called, and they had to find my phone number through the record company and so on, so I was very aware she was going to be calling.
Were you a little nervous that it was Linda Evans?
Excited is more like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were talking about, the two of you, and the audience and I were talking, and a couple of people said that one of the qualities they like so much about Linda and about both of you is that you're both so down to earth. And I said, it seems to me you have escaped the Hollywood stereotype, or the thing that often we perceive happens to people when they get involved in this world. They become, I don't know, it seems that both of you managed to stay quite firmly anchored on the ground. Is it, I don't know, I thought maybe it was because of your degree in psychology and your understanding of life is is that helped to keep you fairly secure in life?
I don't think the degree in psychology helps anything. I think just studying psychology helped me understand myself more. So, and that helps in turn, and it has an effect, but I think Linda also has helped. Because this whole success thing that has happened in the last couple of years, it's very powerful. There's a lot of stress, anxiety, there's a lot of things that come with it, and a lot of traps.
Right.
And she's a great teacher to have around.
Now, this is a bit of a flip role, because it is unusual. It's usually the man who has led the life of success and the woman, but you were the major star, so you've learned all the success and pitfalls, and now that your star is suddenly exploding, you are the one to be around who's been through it all. So we've got a bit of a role reversal here.
Yep. That's what we've got.
I like it so far.
I love it. I love it. Because this is the recognition I always thought he should have. I mean, when I heard his music, I thought, why doesn't everybody know about this music? And I said to him, if they just heard you, if they could just hear your music, they would all love you. But the point was, how then to have them hear it? How could they hear his music? And
you would be my manager?
No, but that was it. And the truth is, when the American public found out about it, he sold millions of albums. They just didn't know he existed.
Yanni, is Yanni your first name?
Yes.
Or so what is your last name?
Yanni Chrysomalis.
Chrysomalis.
So when I came to this country, people would say, what's your name? I'd say, Yanni Chrysomalis. And they all look, what?
Hello, Yanni.
Then I just figured Yanni it's unique enough in this country, at least.
Now, Kalamata is one of the olive growing centers of the world, is it, in Greece?
Yeah, it's southern Greece, about 30 miles west of Sparta. Really beautiful, really clean still, the ocean. We spend a month every year there with Linda, and they have some of the best olives in the world.
You two are just so in love, isn't it? I mean, you were when I interviewed you, and we all walked away going, oh, look at them, they're really in love. And yet I know, and I've heard other people ask you, you don't intend to get married. Marriage is not something you plan on?
No.
We don't have to get married.
Well, I know,
I mean,
yeah.
It's not that we hate marriage, it's just we're happy.
Why ruin it, you mean? By getting...
Well, I've been married twice before, and it didn't stop me from leaving someone or from someone leaving me. We're not having children, and we're happy.
So what is it, how do you view yourselves? I mean, we're not going to get married, but we're going to stay. What's your philosophy here in this relationship? For as long as it works, or for...
Oh, shouldn't that be how it is always?
I guess so.
I mean,
yeah.
People are really together for as long as it works, regardless of children or anything. I mean, that's my experience of marriage, is that when it doesn't work for people, they split up, no matter if there's 75 people involved or 2.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, 2 people stay together because they look into each other's eyes and they go, you're it, I'm going to stay with you. And it lasts as long as you see that, as the connection exists.
When you 2 met, who figured out first that this was it? I mean, did you know right away that this was it, or did you meet him and go, whoops, this is it?
Well, I didn't know anything about him, as you know, and when I opened the front door, I just was completely surprised.
What were you expecting? What in your mind? You know, and our mind's eye, when we talk to someone, we make a picture. What did you expect?
Well, I'd heard, first I thought he was Japanese, and then they told me that he wasn't, that he was Greek. I didn't know what Yanni was. I had never heard of Yanni before. So then I said, okay, he's Greek. Lovely, all right, he's Greek. But I didn't know much beyond that. And so when he came, it was that I was expecting a Greek man, but I wasn't expecting to fall in love with him the minute I looked at him. And the interesting thing is, it isn't so much that I fell in love with him because of the way he looks, which you could fall in love with him with the way he looks.
I could imagine that, yeah.
There was something in him, in his eyes, that it took me months for my mind to realize what my heart knew in a moment, which is very peculiar for me. I've never experienced this before in my life. So it was kind of an amazing experience.
And for you, Yanni?
I can sum it up by saying I don't remember a lot about the first time we met. You know, we've been asked about it. I don't remember what she was wearing. I don't remember what the house looks like. I mean, now I know what the house looks like because we've been there before, since that time. But I was so taken by the moment. It's so intense. The great thing is that we've had a chance to speak to each other for quite some time before we met, almost a month of numerous conversations on the phone. So we had a chance to find out a lot about each other because we're both very open. And the communication was free. Once you agree on a level, once you communicate on a really good level, information changes pretty quickly. So there's the connection had begun for me, at least, over the phone.
We have to take a break. When we come back, one of the things that is not expressed in your biography is very little about your background. And I know that you, one of the most amazing things about this man is that he doesn't read music, that he plays. He has perfect pitch, and he just sits down and plays. Gave up a promising career in who knows what, but we'll find that out right after this. I said in your bio, it doesn't tell us much about your background and your childhood. I know obviously you're from Greece, you're from southern Greece.
Right.
And I don't know if you're from a poor family, a musical family.
Middle class. It was a middle class family. It was, I had a great childhood. Money didn't really matter, and it was, Linda says that when it comes down to parents, I had the pick of the century. I mean, I was loved to death. Yes. Very fortunate. They're both alive today, so they are enjoying this, I think, much more than I am.
Well, how did you discover the piano?
The piano was in the house because my mother and father are music lovers, and they listen to a lot of classical music, and like you said earlier, I have perfect pitch, which gives me the ability to recognize notes and chords when I hear them instantly.
So for people who don't understand that, when you hear something, you can simply go and play it.
I know everything there is to know when I hear something. I know what the notes are, what the chords are. So when I listen to music, music carries a lot more information for me than the average person who listens to it.
So how old were you when you discovered? Were you 8, 10, 9?
6, 7, I started, yeah.
And so did somebody say, wait a minute, this kid has talent?
They did, but you know, I have another problem too. I tend not to like teachers very much. I don't really. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for it too. I am a believer that at some point you have to shut down the input to have output. If you have someone teaching you and telling you how things are supposed to be at all times in your life, you never give yourself a chance to really let yourself come out. So there's a danger. There's nothing wrong with schools. I mean, we should all go to schools, and I have gone to school. But at some point, I judged and I called the shots in my life to where I said, no more school. It's over. I don't want to hear anymore. And then I began to create.
That's right. The purpose of creativity is to learn enough to stop the rules to start being creative.
Absolutely.
So you just bypassed a lot of that.
Absolutely. The whole idea was that I'm not really interested in doing music the way everybody else has done it. That's been done.
But when did you decide that music, in people's lives, if you look back, there are turning points or major breaks or whatever you want to call them in their career. Here's a young man who starts about age 6 to fool around with the piano, doesn't want teachers. So where did it start for you that music started to become very prominent or important?
The major decision happened around 21 when I graduated from college.
From the psychology course?
Yeah, it was the first time in my life that I came into my power, I think, when I just realized that in life we have a choice. And if we don't get to do what we really want to do, it's gone. And I just had the nerve to take a chance, because it's a big chance to take.
But you knew at 21 that what you really wanted was not psychology, it was to play the piano? You knew at that time?
I had an incredible strong urge for music, and I thought I'll give it a chance. About 3 months after I tried it, I was so happy that there was no question in my mind.
Who discovered you? Who came along when now you're playing and said, ah, talent?
Private music, I think, it's the company that I've been with since the beginning, and they liked my first demo tape, and they took me on, and
I don't understand this, Yanni, and I've really been trying to figure this out. It's been really driving me crazy for a couple of days. We had a big talk about it this morning at our staff meeting. You've got 9 albums. This is your 9th. You don't read music. You play with symphony orchestras. You go, don't you, and how, you must have an extraordinary memory for all these pieces. How do you start with a simple tune in your mind and then can go out and sit down and play and not read music? Do you have a photographic memory?
No, it's a very simple thing. Once you spend 14-hour days for 20 years doing this, I think your memory gets developed very well.
That would do it, yeah.
Also, what you have to recognize is this. We get blind to the fact that we really don't have to write music down to communicate it. Music is an auditory thing, and we transform it into a visual thing by putting it on a piece of paper. Well, in reality, when you put it on a piece of paper, you only transfer maybe 60% of what's there. If I write my music down on a piece of paper, someone else try to play it, they won't know exactly what I mean.
Right.
The only way to really do it is if you record it. Now we have a way of doing that. So what I do is I go, play it, record it, and then I say, this is what I mean. It's much more accurate.
Okay. Now, one of the other things we'd like to do is take a look back at Linda's career. We thought we would show you a clip from that smash hit TV series, What Else But Dynasty. Now, here's a scene that shows you just how close and warm and friendly Crystal and Alexis really were. Watch this.
I'm awfully sorry, Crystal. I can't give it back to you. You see, I gave it away.
You what?
To one of my maids. Well, I'm sure it was expensive, but admitted it really did look like junk jewelry. Poor Blake never did have much taste in jewels.
How dare you, Alexis? That brooch meant a lot to me. It was very special to me. Aren't you woman enough to understand that?
Oh, I'm very much a woman, Crystal. Next time you see Blake, just ask him about our early years together. Or has he had a slip of the tongue occasionally and let a few choice tidbits slip out? Is that what's bugging you?
No, that's not what's bugging me. It's you.
Did you see this? Yeah. You want to arm wrestle?
Wow. Don't take me on, I'm tough.
Wow.
Are you and Joan Collins, do you still see each other? Have you remained friends with the cast?
We see each other. I don't ever
wrestling
hit her.
or just
No,
over drink?
I don't hit women. I don't hit anybody. I don't beat up people except on television.
How did you get the role on Dynasty? How did that come about? Was there like big cattle call? Did they zero in on you? Were there 3 they wanted?
No, I'm sure there was a big cattle call, but and they saw a lot of people, but Aaron Spelling, for some reason, decided that I should be Crystal Carrington. You know, and originally, John Forsythe wasn't Blake, it was George Peppard, and we shot the original 4-hour pilot with him and then replaced him.
How many episodes were done of Dynasty?
Well, 9 years. I don't know, 100 and some.
It's still running all over the world. I mean, you're still beating that woman up in some country right now.
Probably.
You have probably the most famous hair in the world, too. I mean, if you walk down the streets of any city, and this must amuse you when you go out at night, you'll see women with Crystal Carrington's hairdo.
That's why I changed it this way.
Is that why?
It's a lot easier for me to get around without being noticed with this hairdo. They look, but then they go, nah.